Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval Creed. Today we'll be going over the Japanese cruiser Akitsushima. It is an event cruiser that was actually out of print, but with the new release of out-of-date event ships, I was actually able to get my hands on her. Um, she is an okay ship. In a nutshell, she is a fun ship, but not a very influential ship on the game itself. She doesn't really have the power to make a big difference in the game, but she has some fun armor and she has a fun playstyle as well. So we're going to go over and show you what she has, and you can see if you would like her in your port as well. So first off, we have health of 100 or 18,700 health, up to 20 millimeters of armor it says there, but if you actually look at the armor model, it says a maximum of 51 with a belt of 19. Now, I'm not really sure why the belt is 19 because, as you can see here, it's colored red. So it's potentially all the way up to 51 millimeters thick. Yes, I do see that the gun faces are red as well, which may be what's 51 millimeters. But 2-inch thick armor on this is actually pretty trolly. If you've seen some of my other videos in which I go against Akitsushima, armor piercing goes through one side and not the other as an overpen and does minimal damage, and it has enough armor to shatter some high explosive. So honestly, this ship is pretty okay armored. It's not going to survive everything, but it can survive enough, honestly. Your one weak area is your stern. As you can see here, there's like no armor whatsoever, and it'll go right through the stern and impact the citadel. But if you actually look at the citadel, it's all underwater as well, which means it's actually quite difficult to citadel the ship at closer ranges. Now, you can definitely go through the stern as plunging fire and do that, or even from farther away, but I mean, she's a small ship, so you're going to be closer in order to shoot at her, which means that she's actually going to be more protected. So, she armor wise, like the thickness is not that great, but the way it is on the ship and the way her citadel is, it's actually pretty decent for a ship this size. And there's been many times where I thought I'd be able to kill the ship and I just shatter or I bounce. All right, going back here, we got two main guns. Well, kind of. They're 127 millimeters, so 5-inch guns. We have a twin mount here, which has a gun shield, and we have a mount here with no gun shield. This is all of your primary firepower, two twin 5-inch guns. So yeah, you're not really going to be doing any big damage numbers with your guns. Just get that out of the way right now. The best things these are good for are getting the occasional fire on a ship. You're trying to light as many ships on fire as you can and let the fires do the damage. And if you actually have a pretty decent broadside on cruisers and battleships, switching to armor piercing will actually give you a pretty decent number. Even on cruisers, you might be able to citadel them. So that's also nice. But like I said, don't really expect too much out of your guns. 5.6% chance of fire. Shell velocity is good at 919 meters per second. Damages are there, but meh. And even HE piercing, so it's only 21 millimeters. So if the side armor of Akitsushima is in fact 51 millimeters, then you can't actually pen your own armor with your own guns. So it's actually, like I said, the armor works for this ship, even though it's not thick at all. All right, gun range, 8.6 kilometers. Yes, you heard me correct. That is absolute garbage. Actually, let me check to see what the tier 1 cruiser Hashadate's range is. 9.0. Though it does get increased from 8.2. So you have less range than the tier 1 cruiser for Japan. Again, your guns are really not going to do much. Just get that through your head right now. It is okay because your surface detectability, well, it says 9.5 here, but with the cruise, your immediate bonus you get does drop it down to 8.6 immediately. So as soon as you're detected, you're in range. I also have the concealment skill for my captain, and I have it down to 8.1. So I actually have about 400 meters of range that I am not going to be detected at. However, you don't really want to be close because your speed is a whopping 19 knots. Yeah, you're not going to go anywhere fast. Now, I do have a speed buff supplied to the ship, so I can get her up to about 22-ish, I think. Even then, it's what matchmaking was matchmaking 7.0. Well, right now that means we are going to go up against Akatsuki, and Akatsuki has a speed of, it's like 39, isn't it? 38 knots. Plus speed boost, plus speed buffs, and I can get her all almost up to 50, I think. So yeah, you're not gonna outrun anything at all. Like absolutely nothing at all. Everything's gonna chase you down. So yeah, just getting that in mind. Her main thing, how actually no, before we go over to the main thing, let's do her anti-aircraft defense. Here's a joke. 1.2 kilometers, 8 damage. 5.0 kilometers, 27 damage. Plot twist, though, you actually have a defensive AA. um, it really doesn't do anything. Besides scatter the planes so you can maybe find a gap for torpedo bombers. I actually have knocked down 2 or 3 planes in the ship, believe it or not. But I wouldn't necessarily call it a good anti-aircraft ship. Alright, now on to the final thing. Her main fame to glory is the gigantic seaplane you see on the back, which you've probably seen by this point. It's an H-8K Emily. It's one of my favorite aircraft, actually. And in this game, it is used as a torpedo bomber. Now, somehow or another, you're actually able to fit 3 of these on this ship. I don't explain that magic to me. But yeah, you have 3 of these planes. They are very, very good, actually. Torpedo bomber, tier 10 aircraft, 9,170 points of health, and they go 230 knots, which is actually insanely fast. They drop 2 torpedoes. They have had some changes to the torpedoes since she was first released. At one point, she had 1 super torpedo that she would drop. Now she just drops 2 normal carrier aircraft-based torpedoes, which actually still do a lot of damage. I've only had this plane actually be shot down once in any game I've played with her. So you can just ignore anti-aircraft for the most part and then drop your torpedo and then fly back. That being said, I also kind of focus on targets with less anti-aircraft defense because once you lose the planes, there's really nothing this ship is good for at all. You drop the torpedoes pretty close to the target as well. This is a really easy way to one-shot destroyers because no matter how they maneuver, you're going to nail both torpedoes into the side of them and they always go down pretty much by that point. And if they do survive, then if they're close enough, you can just finish them off with your 2 twin 5-inch guns. So you can actually relatively counter destroyers relatively good if you can spot them. But yeah. Anything else I wanted to say? Not really. Yeah, just it's a fun ship, but your damage numbers are going to be really low. But let's toss her into the game and see what we can do. All right, let's see what kind of game we have today. 2 battleships, a bunch of cruisers, and 1 destroyer. Okay, not really the best, but we can see what we can do here. We do have a Chungking. It's best to know which ships have the best anti-aircraft defense before you play the ship, so you know which ones to avoid at the beginning of the game, and focus on later in the game when it doesn't really matter if you lose an airplane or not. So in this case, Nelson is actually pretty strong. Miyoko and Chapayev do have defensive AAs, as well as Graf Spee if she wants to. But overall, Chungking is going to be the one we want to avoid the most, as well as Nelson. But everything else is free game. So we're going to start meandering our way this way at 22.6 knots. I'm not even going to try and go for this side like I normally do because it's really not worth my time. Because once the targets are all gone over here, I'm never going to be able to actually get in range of anything before the game ends. Alright, so we're going to launch our plane up in the air. There it goes. And we're going to wait to find some targets to launch some torpedoes at. As you can see, 8.6 kilometer range. You barely have any room to fire. You can see my concealment's 8.1, and that just barely gives me some stealth firing capability, I guess you could say, though as soon as I shoot, I'm going to be sighted. But we're just going to start moseying our way this way. It's kind of a slow game once you actually like sail the ship. Your main thing is fly the plane, use the plane, and then wait for it to reload, and if you can use your guns, go for it, but it should never be your primary armament. Alright, so let's see how the ships are split up. We got a chappie over here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Alright, so I had to restart my game again. That's a common theme for right now. Alright, so let's see what kind of ships. So this craft bay is actually pretty well separated from the rest of the ships. So once I figure there, alright, there we go. So we're going to drop this craft bay, and then we can work on the Chapayev once we reload our torpedoes. So there we go, we're going to drop our torpedoes. 2 torpedoes, really close contact, and just boom, there we go. 13.8 thousand damage. I could finish off with guns if said island wasn't in the way. Might as well use a defensive AA. It's not like I have anything else to use it on right now. And I'm still not in range of the Chapayev. There we go, now we finally are. How's our seaplane doing? 35 seconds. That's fine. Let's switch over to armor piercing, see if we can do anything with that real quick. Oof. Well, we might be able to finish her off at this point, considering she just got nailed by whatever battleships to my right. And there she goes. There is the Graf Spee. See, we're almost in gun range, kind of. We can shoot her, but I doubt we'll be able to actually do much. Though our fast shell velocity may help us pretty well. One last shot. Not with that accuracy. There's the javelin as well. There we go. Alright, while we focus on the javelin, let's find another ship to focus on. That Miyoko is going to go down. Let's go for the Sinop. Alright, so now we got the torpedo bomber out of the way. Let's focus on this destroyer a little bit. We also do get a repair as well, or a heal, which is nice, considering you will probably take a lot of damage because of your low armor and slow speed. Where is that Shun King, actually? Okay, so not anywhere close. We're dropping the torpedoes on the Sinop right now. Got 2 torpedo hits. Alright, that ship's down. Cool. So yeah, you can kind of see that you're pretty much on cleanup duty overall. Though, we are probably going to be the focus of attention here pretty soon. No floodings yet. But let's see what we can do against the Sinop. I know I have high explosive loaded, but we're going to just see what we can do for right now. Plane is going to be up relatively soon. We're going to go for the Nelson. I'd like to go for the cruiser, but I'd have to fly over the Nelson and the Shun King, which would just be anti-aircraft hell. So we're just going to work over the Sinop here for a little bit and have our plane weaken targets that we're going to come up against next. Trying to get some armor-piercing shells into the casemate deck of this ship. Since it is technically a weak spot, you're not going to do a ton of damage, so don't even pretend you will. But you might just have enough firepower to finish her off. Well, there she goes. Torpedoes are going to drop here. $12.5K. And then we're just going to wait for our plane to land while we keep sending some shells downrange. We are actually now the target of this battleship. A lot of it's going to overpen, but not all of it. Let's actually see if we can light a fire on her. We did get a flooding on her, so her repair is going to be down. But the other battleship is now in range, so they're going to focus on her. Let's actually switch to armor piercing, because we might be able to finish off this Chongqing with some good armor piercing salvos. At least try. Seaplane, go after the Nelson again. We did get a Citadel on Chongqing. Flat broadside at 5.5 km, I would certainly hope so. But even then, it's not really a guarantee. There's another one. But yeah, as you can see, you just slowly whittle down every ship you can see. Sometimes you get overpen, sometimes you get citadels. I don't really have anything focused on my accuracy right now, so I'm not too worried about it. We also got another 2 hits on Nelson with our torpedoes. No flooding, no flooding. But we are going to keep tickling her with armor piercing. She did run into the wreck of the Constantine, so we're just going to sit here and work her over a little bit. And I don't think we won't be able to use our plane again. But that's pretty much how you use the ship. You do damage with your torpedo bomber, and you kind of do a little bit with your guns, and that's about all. Let's see what we got. 88,374 damage. That's pretty average, actually, honestly. 1 ship was sunk, 101 shell hits, 8 torpedo hits, 6 citadels, 1 flooding, 10 defended caps, 3,800 base XP. Main guns, we did 7,000 damage with high explosive, 28,000 damage with armor piercing, and almost 52,000 damage in torpedoes. And flooding did absolutely 0 damage. So yeah, your main damage dealer, ironically, is your plane and not your main guns. But like I said, she is a fun ship, but not really a strong ship, and she won't really change the way the battle goes. And she can't help it or defend a flank or anything like that either. But she is pretty fun. I would get her again, honestly. So if you are interested in her, she is currently available. I don't know if this offer will ever become available again. I didn't think it would be available ever in the first place, though. So, I mean, take it while you can if you want. There are other event ships as well, as we mentioned in the last video. We can take a look at... I don't know if they replace them or not. Let's actually take a look here. It's got to load. Alright, so going back over here. So we got Garibaldi, Kronstadt, and Akitsushima. And yeah, we have H-41, Prince of Wales, and West Virginia still in the shop. So they do not replace them. So if you want any of these ships, go for it. West Virginia, Prince of Wales, West Virginia and Prince of Wales are definite yeses. H-41, you could probably deal without. H-39 is better. Akitsushima is fun. Kronstadt, you could probably do without. And then Garibaldi is one of the best cruisers in the game. So those are my opinions on those ships. As of right now, I will wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe. And next time, we will be going over Akaishi, which is the Yamato refit, with the new seaplane consumable. It doesn't really do much, but I can still show you what it does. And I always love a good opportunity to take this bad boy out. So thank you so much and take care.